Something people find challenging when it comes to making samosas, it's making these pockets, and these ones can be a lifesaver if you learn how to make them. And so that's the purpose of this video. Kindly welcome back to my YouTube channel, and let's learn how to make samosa pockets. If there is one thing I want to be intentional with on this channel, is not presuming that you know everything or you have watched everything. And so I'm always going to make sure that I show you step-by-step guides on how to do certain things. Today, I'm going to be showing you how to make samosa wraps or pockets from 1 cup, just 1 cup of all-purpose flour. And so that you can see it doesn't have to be so complicated. So even when you're alone and you want to enjoy samosas and maybe the only challenge you have is making the pockets, this will be your go-to video. In the meantime, like, share, subscribe, and if you're a returning subscriber, thank you so much. To the new subscribers, thank you so much. We have hit the 7,000 subscribers mark. Let us push to 8,000 subscribers. So welcome back to my YouTube channel. Let's get into this video. So on the list of our ingredients, we'll be having 1 cup all-purpose flour, 1 cup warm water, salt to taste, and oil. Oil will be useful when you're kneading and when you're making the pocket. So let's get started. Remember, I've said we're only making a few pockets, and this is why we are using just the little amount of just a bit of oil, not too much. And water, you don't have to add all at once, add gradually so that you don't end up with a too sticky dough. Okay. Anyway, 1 cup should be enough. This is a small dough. It's a very, very small dough. It should be enough to give us a few pockets. If it's too sticky, like it is, can just add a bit of flour, until it stops sticking on your hands. This one does not require much effort. I'm even struggling because I'm used to making huge doughs. But it's okay. For the purposes of this video, I just needed to make a small, tiny one. So you want to see how much when you're kneading your dough. If you're not good with measurements, the tip to do is just make sure you're adding water gradually as you knead along, so that you don't end up making more than you need. And yeah, I'm going to continue kneading until it stops sticking on my palm. So you want to knead this dough until it's completely kneaded. I have told you the number 1 sign of a well-kneaded dough, it's when it stops sticking on your palm. My table is too shaky. We're going to be changing it soon. Not changing it entirely, just making sure it's firm. Change the tabletop because it's really worn out on the sides, not the surface, the sides. So this dough is good. I'll add a bit of oil. That's a good dough. So I'm going to let this dough sit for 5 minutes. 5 minutes will be enough, and then we'll start now partitioning it and making our pockets. We are back. Now, since it is a samosa dough, And the dough balls are going to be very tiny, very tiny. Again, just like I do with chapatis, I'll just use that point of my hand to help make it, to kickstart me with the shape, so that the dough balls pick up a shape that is not too of the circle. You want a round dough ball. Last but not least, so I need an even number, because the dough balls, I usually make them and pairing them in twos. So I do want an even number. What I'll do, I'll partition this tiny remaining dough into 8 portions and add to each of these dough balls. It didn't get 8, but whatever number is just good enough. You just don't want to throw away anything. And even when you're making chapatis and you realize that you have a small dough remaining, instead of making a small chapatis, you can always subdivide it to fit the ones that you wanted. So there we have our 8 dough balls. Now this translates to 32 samosas, because from each of these we are going to get 4 pockets. Now let's get into the next step. I'll quickly dust them so that they make it's easy for me to roll them and they don't stick on the rolling pin and on the table. So just dust them in no particular order, just a freestyle. There. Now rolling. I know this is the part where most people lament. They say rolling is such a challenge. I'm still going to make you see it's not so complicated. Just make sure you're doing as you would when making your chapatis, but you don't want to roll into big ones, just a size that's done. Now we are only going to apply oil on 4 of these, so I'm going to look for the ones that look big and the smaller ones will go on top. So I'll apply oil on just 4, and I think these ones are the ones that look big to me, these 4. Okay, so you're going to apply oil on one side, like that, and then you can either take this rolled out dough and just tap it like that on the flour, or you can choose to sprinkle. Whichever works for you, go with that. Sorry for the background noise, but you just need to dust it like that. Then you're going to place the remaining ones on top of each, like that. The reason I prefer to just pair them in twos is because you don't want, sometimes because most of the samosas I make are just for the customers and they're going to be, carried by the riders. I don't want the samosas to break on the way, so you don't want the pockets too thin, and just to ensure that they get the customers not broken. Two light ones are good when you're making your own because you're just having them. But for me, I prefer not making too thin, so that they don't tear and root. So with that, we are just going to roll these ones. In the meantime, I'm going to be warming my pan or preheating my pan.
Now I realized that the background was just too much and I needed to really highlight something when you're rolling this out. One thing you have to notice that don't overroll them. You don't want them to be too big in size, because again, you might have started very well and ruin everything at this stage, because if you roll them too much, then that means you'll get extra light pockets, and you don't want that. Again, that takes us back to the point where I've said, because these ones are transported to the customers, most of the time the rides are not always smooth, so you don't want them to tear and the customer gets their samosas torn. Another thing is that sometimes when you're rolling them, they can tend to overlap, and you don't want that, because when you're separating them, they're going to tear. That's why you saw me pointing at a point where I've seen the overlap, and that is such a bad thing, because when you're separating them after blanching them, they might tend to tear. So careful not to have that when you're rolling yours. Now that you have it rolled out, I use this lid to cut off the ragged edges, because I know people don't always find that a bother, but I'm a perfectionist and I don't like the ragged edges. So we are going to measure this so that you can get the exact size in case you want to know how big is the lid. But this is also now determined by the size of a samosa you want. So this one is 24 centimeters wide. The diameter is 24 centimeters. So if you have anything in your house that is 24 centimeters, that is good enough for you to cut out your samosa wraps, so yeah, that's the purpose of the cutouts. Don't ever cut out your chapatis, they will be very ragged. This is only for the samosa wraps. So we are just going to put this on the preheated pan. Careful not to cook them. You don't want them cooked. You only want to dry them on both sides, pretty much blanching them so that they can be easy to separate, and then obviously to work with when you're making your pockets. So you want to do this over very low heat. The lowest point of your cooker, the heat should be on the lowest, because if you have it too much, it will burn your pockets. And as you can see, it's already puffing and separating, because in between you already had applied oil and dusted with some flour. That creates the air space, and that's how it's separating. And this is the same logic that we apply when you're making our layered chapatis. So anytime you're making layered chapatis and this is a digression and you notice them puffing, that is a good sign. It shows that your chapatis are layered. Now we still repeat the same with the rest of the remaining three, and once you're done, you can see how they're separating already, pretty much showing you that I know someone was wondering, why are you pairing them up, how are they going to separate? You see, now it's not so difficult, because that's why we apply oil and the flour, to make it easy for the two to separate. And also the reason why you can't cook one at a time is because you want to have an even side and the rough side, so you're able to see the side that was facing the pan and the side that was inside. So the side that was inside is what will actually be facing on the outside when you're making your samosa pockets. So the side that you're placing on the pan and cooking should be on the inside when you're wrapping up your samosa wraps. I hope you're enjoying this video. If you are, kindly like, comment, share, and subscribe if you have not. Thank you all so much for the love you've been showing me in my previous videos. Thank you all for your comments, your suggestions, and your requests. They are all not ignored. I have them at heart, and I know I'll be bringing you content relating to the comments. At this point, you can tell there was an overlap there, and that's why that pocket too. But it's good actually this happened, because I had highlighted that if you have an overlap when you're rolling, it tends to make your wraps tear.
Now the next stage, you'll be just making the glue. This is just warm water and all-purpose flour.
Just make sure you mix everything together to get a very smooth paste that is not too thin, not too thick, just the right consistency, flowy. And once you're done with that, that is what you will use as your glue to patch everything together, whether you're making the pockets and when you're filling them, folding to make samosas.
Now we're going to cut out our. Okay, I know some people would argue and say it's not a must, depending on how you like the things. I like things that are perfectly, like I'm a perfectionist, so I don't want rugged edges around my samosas. So we're just going to cut out the extra. Sorry. I really hope you're learning something. Kindly, if you've watched up to this far, hit that subscribe button if you're not subscribed. Like, comment, and share, and let me know where you find what you find challenging when it comes to making samosas. And let me know if this video is one of the ones that you would really, really come and refer back to on your next samosa day. We almost missed out on this one, but it's still in. So we're just going to have very minimal waste here, but it's okay. Nothing goes to waste. Actually, my kids enjoy the crunches they make from deep frying these ones, so the cuttings don't go to waste. In case you wanted to ask, where do you dispose them off? No, we don't. These ones my kids love to crunch on them, so they deep fry them and have them with some dipping sauce, and it's okay. Okay, I also do indulge. So now that we have a nicely cut out round wraps, we want to now cut this into because this one has torn, we we're not going to use that side. Let's use the side that is not torn. So to make it easy, I only need to get the top one like that. So first step is fold it into there. Would you call that a semicircle? Yeah, semicircle. Good. So once it's like that, with this line there, that's what you're going to use as your point of reference when cutting through. Okay. Now there you go. That's the first cutting we will do, and then the next one, you're still going to use the top most fold it like that, just to make sure you get such a line. And because they're not too many, I don't want to do it to be repetitive, so let's just use that to cut them all. You see, making samosas is not as complicated. There you go. So next step will be folding now these ones to form a samosa pocket. So the next one we will do when we are making the samosas. So in our next video, I'm going to show you how to make the pockets. Or should I do it on this video? Let me do it on this video, and then on the next one, I'm going to show you how to deep fry your samosas, to fill your samosas, and to actually deep fry them without getting them bubbled up. You know, the way they get rough. So yes, so that this video serves more importance to you, let's make the pockets. So with your glue, I'm just going to make sure I stand behind this tripod so that I'm able to give you a perfect view of how to actually fold your pockets. Now you're going to pick your wraps like that, separate them, take your glue, because I would not want to assume or presume that you already know. To have a center mark, you can hold your pocket like that, bring this edge to the other one like that, make a small marking there. Now that is your point of reference when you're folding. You will apply glue from the point you folded like that. You don't have to apply on the entire, and then there The point where you made is where you're going to fold and bring it to the other side, and you'll have made your samosa pocket. Very important to note, seal this point well so that when you're deep frying your samosas, oil doesn't get to the filling from this point when you're making your pocket. And when it's still wet, make sure you separate this bit so that you don't have your pocket sealed up to this point. So make sure you get such a perfectly sealed samosa pocket so that your samosas don't get soggy from oil entering through the not so well sealed edges. Are we together up to that point? Let's make another one. So presuming you don't know where the center is, fold it, make a small marking, stretch it out, apply your glue, and then use the point where you made a marking as your point of reference, as a center point, and fold like that. Make sure you're pressing to make sure the glue sticks well. This point well sealed. Separate the, make sure the pocket is sealed like that. And that is how you end up with a perfect samosa pocket. I really hope you're enjoying this video. So watch and learn. So for me, I usually don't have to make the marking. I already know, and I quickly, and once you get used to these things, pardon me, the fly happens. I don't know where they come from. Sometimes even when I'm cooking on TikTok live, you just see a fly pass. So because I'm so used to making this, I do it very fast, and I'm not even yeah. So usually you just want to make sure you have nicely sealed pockets, and the rest is for you to enjoy. Making samosas can be fun, and once you have gotten how to make the pockets, you'll never buy samosas, because now the filling depends on whatever you want. You can have your filling, your fish filling, chicken filling, beef, mutton, vegetable, anything, name it. Samosas are such a nice and a healthy snack to have. So I would really encourage you to really learn how to make the pockets, and you'll never have to buy samosas even from me. But if it is too much work for you, that is why I'm here for you. But for the purposes of those people who are maybe far and cannot buy food from me directly, that's why these tutorial videos are here, for you to learn and practice from your the comfort of your homes, and apply whatever I teach you to make good food for your families. You can also purchase my cookbook. It has a samosa wrap recipe. The number to order on is the one that is on the screen, and you will learn how to make several other things like chapatis, mandazis, and chapati noodles. Yes, so that is it for this video. Until the next one, where I'm going to be showing you how to fill and cook samosas perfectly so that they do not end up bubbled and bruised, then keep it right here. Until my next one, guys, thank you so much for watching. This was supposed to be a short video, but I think it is over 20 or 30 minutes. However, I'm not going to cut anything so that you enjoy. Until the next one, bye.